obviously do like different lighting things, but it is really important, depending on what project you're doing, to like make those choices on the day, like in the set you're using. And just by picking, you know, like you do a location recce, you notice, oh, there's green walls, oh, there's some blue accents, I'm going to put her in blue. It just like separates people from the background. So, I mean, I'm like the costume maker as well for like, so I made 4 of the dresses in it. So, I mean, when I'm making them and buying the fabric, I get to be very particular about what I want. So yeah, the dress, you know, the aniline dye thing you mentioned, it was kind of a detail thing that most people aren't going to really know about or pick up on, but it's something that, you know, again, when I'm picking the fabrics, I might as well. So yeah, at the end of the film, she's actually wearing kind of like an aniline dye, but it's fully saturated like the one at the beginning, in the pink, the magenta. Like, she obviously goes through with killing her husband. And something that was quite interesting about these dresses, that when people would wear them, when it would rain, the poison would literally seep into their skin, so that it would be poisoning you. So it's almost like this her dress is poisoning her decisions, and kind of, it's just like another detail thing, like linking to the whole film. But yeah.
Beyond that, then, I suppose the film plays with time quite a lot, because the inspiration for it is 17th century, but the setting is 19th century, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, presumably there's a meaning there.
Yeah, so we didn't really have the budget to go to Italy, unfortunately. And yeah, basically the Victorian era is actually known as the golden age of poisoning. So it's kind of like the perfect sort of situation to do it in. And personally, we've always wanted to do something kind of this sort of period. So it kind of all tied in. And because it was like a loose inspiration, it wasn't like one for one, we thought we could like change it around. And Julia herself is a bit of a myth such. There's no actual like hard evidence that she like existed, but there was a group of poisoners in Italy at the time that were actually doing this, and Mozart himself is said to be like, I've been poisoned by aqua tofana on his deathbed. So there's still a lot of like historical kind of evidence that something like that was going on.
I mean, it's quite good at exposing the gender dynamics of the 19th century and the inequalities within that. I mean, do you think the filmmaker or the writer has a role in amplifying these types of stories or voices in that regard?
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, with this, obviously, you're talking about time setting as well. I mean, for example, we chose purposely to set it in 1880, because a few years later, there was some more marriage laws that allowed basically anything you took into the marriage, you could then bring back out. Before then, so when our film is set, if you managed to get a divorce, which is incredibly difficult, you basically left destitute. So it's kind of highlighting, you know, those kind of stories, because I know it's obviously quite different from what people experience today, but people are still in relationships and marriages and partnerships that they don't, you know, that they can't really get out of for multiple reasons. But yeah, it's kind of loosely tied. But yeah, I think it's important to kind of show that side of history, I guess.
I mean, the writing, you talk about her being incomplete, but then there's a sort of almost, I don't know if redemption's the right word at the end, but she's described as being complete, or at least to the narrator she's complete.
Yeah, I think it's just how the society views, so the beginning is her kind of describing how widows are viewed. Because in that society, basically, if your husband died, you'd wear black for 2 years and not be able to really go out anywhere, go to any parties. You didn't have to do that, but that was the social norm. So it's almost like, oh, people would pass you in the street and feel really sorry for you. And she's talking about how, you know, oh, you're so ashamed. And actually, no, you're actually free, you're free. So everyone's feeling sorry for you. And you're like, well, I've just killed my husband, so I'm really happy about it. So it's quite a good disguise. So obviously, Julia herself is a widow in it as well. So it's a very good disguise. No one's going to question what she's doing. So it's just kind of like people viewing, you know, from a widow, and then how they actually feel, basically.
Yeah, I mean, playing with time and perspective is what gives the story its power, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I love like anything period. I like, you know, I always look out for more stories like set like historically. I feel like it's just so different. And yeah, as soon as I found it, I was like, I have to make this.
So, I mean, on that, do you think history is a good way to, I suppose, talk about contemporary issues in that regard? And is film in your eyes a mechanism for that in this regard?
I mean, it's obviously, it can be like a powerful tie. I personally kind of don't really intend to do that. I think it's nice that if it does mirror, because I feel like modern audiences will obviously, if it's more close to their own experience, it's gonna bring more true to them. But at the same time, I think there's something wrong with like a transformative film that takes you somewhere completely different. You know, you watch Pride and Prejudice. I don't think anyone alive pretty much will have kind of an experience like that, apart from if you're like an aristocrat. But like people still enjoy that kind of completely different world. So I don't necessarily think it has to tie to now, and that's kind of what I do. Like I always want to do period things. We've actually we're in post-production for 2 other period things. So I'm like always it has to be 20 years old or more. That's my rule.
Can you talk about them? all under wraps at the moment?
They're both Victorian, so one of them, yeah, both in post. One of them's like 1890s cycling for the first time. Again, it's about a woman learning to ride a bike for the first time when it was a very kind of taboo thing. You know, a woman wouldn't be able to get around by herself, and they were kind of, their stones were thrown at them, and they were like called prostitutes, and it was awful. So, but we kind of take that is like the context of the film, but it's a more whimsical kind of a girl just learning to ride a bike for the first time. So in the English countryside. But yeah, that's I could go on and on about all the films we have. But yeah, that's the one that's probably going to be finished next. But yeah, very different to this tonally, because it's scarier.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much. I'd like to open the floor up to questions from the audience. Thank you.
What was your budget, please, and how long did it take to film?
So basically, we did a Kickstarter for this. So we did that in September, and I think we ended up getting 7,000 something. But we ended up having to put a bit more in ourselves. So it ended up being 11,000, which is kind of like an average for this sort of thing. Obviously, doing period is very difficult because every single thing makes it more expensive than doing a modern day set film. What was your other questions? Did you say? Sorry.
How long?
How long? Yeah, so we did the Kickstarter, we got the funding in October, which was great, so we'd never done a Kickstarter before, so very scary process. And we filmed, because we had filmed like over so many different locations, we didn't do like a normal shoot where it'd be multiple days in a row. So we did, how many days was it in the end? 5 or 6?
Taking 3 days.
3 days before filming. Yeah, and then we had like pickup days. So we had to go wherever the location took us. So we were in London for the inside the house, and we were at Black Country Living Museum, then down where we were from Dorset. So we had a couple outdoor scenes there. But overall, I think we then finished it within like 5 months, I think. But that's because this filming was so split up. But yeah, 5 months, finished it in May. Next question?
Hi, I just want to say thank you so much for that story. It was so interesting and such a cool concept. I feel like there's so much more that can be told to that story, and I was wondering if you ever thought about writing it as a feature, and obviously it's budget dependent, but whether that's something you would want to do in the future.
Thank you so much. I always, with films I do, I kind of always want people wanting more at the end. I don't want it to feel like, okay, like I want people to, you want to be satisfied by the story you're giving people, and you don't want it to feel too much like a proof of concept, but you want people to feel like there's scope. So thank you for saying that. I feel like there's always kind of extra ideas we have. Like for this one, I think my sister and I co-wrote it. And we potentially thought about like a mini-series, kind of going a bit more into like how she got into that position. I always love a mini-series. I just think you can really sink your teeth into the characters, and the pacing's so different. But yeah, we have like started writing it, but I mean, I have so many other shorts that I want to do. I'm going to wait to do that until maybe a bit later, maybe 10 shorts down or something.
Any other questions? I thought it was incredible that you made all the costumes. How long did it take to make each dress?
I honestly try to forget how long it takes. It's like a sweatshop in my flat when I'm doing it. I just do it for hours and hours. It really depends on the dress, because some of them are like, when I've made it once, then some of them it's the same skirt or the same bodice, so then it's just kind of remake. I already know how to do it, don't need to look at the instructions. I would say maybe like 3 days per dress, maybe. But then I literally put my foot down the full way on the sewing machine. I'm not like really careful, so I'm just like, get it done. So yeah, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks total, if you did it all together.
Anybody else? I have a question. In the edit, was there a lot of footage that you had to cut? Did you end up filming loads that actually didn't end up making it in?
No, we've gotten pretty good at like filming what we need. The first shot we actually did, we cut like 10 minutes out, and then, you know, because of budget and stuff, we made sure that I think Nicole and her sister are really good at like going through the script and making sure that what's in there is what, you know, the final film will be. And we basically cut virtually nothing, I believe.
I think we cut like one line.
Maybe one line.
It's very fast-paced, isn't it? Though?
Yeah, and yeah, we also we got the shots done within the time constraints for the most part. Daniel, or do you think, how did we do for time?
I think for time it's just the generic thing where you always end up going over a little bit. But I feel like with the locations and the constraints we had on us, I think we did very well to extend our time and get our way a little bit. There was a bit of, you know, a bit of luck and also having a way with words for the locations. I feel like I went over time a little bit, but overall I think what we captured on the screen was perfect, and yeah, everything, like Julian said, has been used, so yeah.
I think that's really impressive with a period film as well, to actually be that, like, keep on time, that organised, and not have like so much to cut at the end, because you've got so much in the production side and the costumes and everything. I find that you almost end up wanting to film more. So yeah, it's really
I would
impressive.
have.